Would the defendant please stand for the reading of the final sentencing verdict forms? Final sentencing verdict form, count 1, murder in the first degree after deliberation. Jonathan Blanc, we the jury do not have a unanimous final sentencing verdict on this count, and we the jury understand that as a result, the court will impose a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole on this count. Final sentencing verdict form, count 2, murder in the first degree after deliberation, Alexander Boyk. We, the jury, do not have a unanimous final sentencing verdict on this count, and we, the jury, understand that as a result, the court will impose a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole on this count. Final sentencing verdict form, count 3, murder in the first degree after deliberation, Jesse Childress. We, the jury, do not...
All right, it is clear now. James Holmes sentenced to life in prison. The jury could not come to a unanimous decision, which was required under Colorado law for a sentence of execution. Because of that, James Holmes will be sentenced to life in prison. The jury deliberated for a little more than 6 hours before reaching that decision. The decision is they couldn't come to a decision on execution. They couldn't agree, not unanimous. So he will spend life now in prison.
And as you mentioned, James, under Colorado law, it is required that all of the jurors are unanimous on the death penalty. That, of course, was not the case today. So James Holmes will spend life in prison. KRDO News Channel 13's Rana Navini joins us live from the Arapahoe County Courthouse. Rana.
Yeah, James and Heather, it's been more than 3 years since the Aurora Theater shooting, and as you guys just heard, James Holmes was not sentenced to death. He has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. As you mentioned, all of the jurors had to agree for the death sentence to be imposed. So obviously, at least one juror did not agree with that death sentence. So Holmes has now been sentenced to life in prison. We are here outside the courthouse where many of the victims, family members, and survivors of the shooting are here to hear the sentencing. We do have Greg Miller inside the courtroom. He's getting reaction. We saw that Caleb Medley, the Southern Colorado man who was shot and critically injured in the shooting, he is here as well to hear the sentencing. During Phase 3, we heard victim impact statements where family members of the victims could speak and tell the jury how the shooting has affected their lives and impacted their lives, but they were not allowed to say to the jury whether or not they wanted the death sentence. So we anticipate at this point we will hear if the survivors, the family members, are happy with this sentence. Again, James Holmes sentenced to life in prison without parole. Greg Miller will be here to give you an update from inside the courtroom coming up on News Channel 13 at 6 o'clock. James and Heather, back to you.
Rana, thank you. And this verdict comes just a little more than 3 years after the murders in Aurora. James Holmes killed 12 people. 70 others were in the Aurora Century 16 Theater on July 20th, 2012.
Jury selection started in January. Opening arguments started on April 27th, July 16th. That guilty verdict. And tonight, James Holmes sentenced to life. We'll take a moment of silence now as we remember the victims.